You ready? What's going on, world? We are here. Welcome to another episode of TBOL, the Business of Love podcast. I am yours truly, Kent King, a.k.a. DJ Dark Kent.
And I am Bree Woo, but, you know, you call me Bria.
That was corny. Boo! Anyway, we are here to talk to you guys today. We got a pretty interesting topic. The title of this one, should I give him the title or should I start with my song first?
Let's just do the title.
Okay, I'm gonna start with my song first. Ready? Ain't none of your friends' business. Ain't none of your friends' business whether you get sex tonight. Whether we protect ourselves and do it right.
As long as we protect ourselves and do it right.
Okay, so if you gonna jump in with some lyric changes, then you better have these next bars. Ready?
Tell your friends. I'm a Genuine fan, so you
Back
already know.
off of us.
Cause they're in our business and...
Yeah, you not even going with the right, like, you trying to, like, just run through this thing. Like, come on, man.
Because we need to get into the topic. Say that singing for later.
Nah, it's karaoke. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to... anyway. Today's topic is about... your personal relationship and mixing it in with your friendship. I haven't really come up with a crafty worded title for this. I will later and y'all will see it. But as of right now, it was kind of called Ain't None of Your Friends' Business.
Pretty much.
Because that was a situation and scenario that we had come to. But before we talk about that, I do want to address the fact that we kind of matching.
Somewhat.
You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Smoking and Cashing. This is our first sponsor, our first real sponsor.
Yes.
Because all the other sponsors has been my pocket, my wallet was really. I bought everything else.
Supporting black-owned businesses.
Right. But they actually wanted to support us, and so they reached out to me and said, "Listen, we would love to get you guys some merch." And if you could wear it, that'd be amazing.
Super appreciative.
So we are super, super grateful for that. And we are definitely rocking the merch. We are loving the colors. We are loving the hoodies.
Super comfortable.
So again, shouts out to Smoking and Cashing. If you or someone you know has a business that you would like for us to support in any way, shape, or form, email us, TBOLpod, T the B business, O of L love. Pod, as in podcast, P-O-D, right? T-B-O-L pod at gmail.com.
We don't need no mess ups.
Yeah. I'm trying to get it right. We had a little situation earlier this week with United Airlines where we were trying to spell some things out. And
I couldn't find what?
Q
a word
for cucumber. She didn't say that.
Definitely didn't say that.
She didn't say it, but it was coming next. It was definitely coming next. But anyway, yes, if you or somebody you know has a business, and you would like for us to sponsor it, or you would like to sponsor us more so. If you would like to sponsor us, or you would like to be listed as a sponsor on one of our episodes, we would definitely be grateful, and we would love to hear from you. Again, just email us tbolpod@gmail. And if you don't have a business, but you just enjoy this content, like, subscribe, comment, let us know how we doing. Talk to us. We like to talk back.
Shout out to everybody that's been commenting too. I feel like we've had such an increase in engagement, and I really do appreciate that.
100%.
It keeps the conversation going.
Yes, definitely. We appreciate all the engagement across all platforms, but especially the ones on YouTube. So again, let's get back in today's topic and kind of how this came about. I kind of asked you a question a little while back, right? And I don't even know where I got it from, but the question was, who do you vent to? Who do you run and talk to talk shit about me? And your response was?
My response was God, specifically. Mostly because, I forgot what the topic or what the conversation really was about. But I know you shared, who you talk to when it comes to certain things in our relationship. And I pretty much said I don't share a lot of my relationship business with friends simply because of previous experiences. Usually what happened, if I would share, we got into it, or this happened, that happened, I noticed that they would kind of hang on to that moment. And then even when me and my partner got good, it kind of still will get brought up at some point.
Got you.
And trust me, like the relationships were very different than this one. It wasn't healthy. So there were a lot of instances, to their point, they would be concerned. But at this point in my life, I'm pretty much just trying to surround myself with positivity. And in doing that, I try not to share every single low that we have, because the lows don't last long.
Right.
And before I know it, we're kind of fixing it ourselves. However, I do understand the importance of having that balance, or at least venting to a homegirl. But I just don't do it often.
No, I feel you. I think that there is a very, there's a very big danger with oversharing. Right. I think that there's a lot of issues that come, or that can be created and can kind of affect relationships. And oftentimes people start with a good intention, right? You never intend for the bad to happen from you oversharing. But I think that we don't really have a grasp on some of the things that happen. Like, for example, there's something called common enemy theory, which is if you and I have a common enemy, it makes us closer. Yeah. It makes our bond tighter. And people don't realize how often common enemy theory actually comes into place, right? Because of the word enemy, it has a bad stigma, right? Or connotation. But in reality, oftentimes we have common enemy theory with our dog. Right? When he's bugging, we're both like, what's wrong with you? Parents have that with kids, right?
Yeah.
Where they'll say, yo, your kid did such and such today. But it's the union that comes together that, and it, the child's not the enemy, but they're the op, whatever the better term for it would be. But common enemy theory is real. And I think that people don't give that enough consideration when it comes to sharing information about your significant other. Oftentimes, right, if I'm mad at you, right, you're the enemy, I can go to someone else and hope that they make you the enemy too. And I think that we have to be a lot more conscious of the dangers of common enemy theory, because sometimes your friend can get stuck in that mind state of thinking that, your significant other is the common enemy, even when y'all done made up, right? So I think that is a very good behavior that you have when it comes to not oversharing. I think that is very positive, because you help avoid some of these things like common enemy theory.
And let me just say, it's not easy. This is something that I've mastered. I told myself one day, like, this is what I'm going to do, because I noticed that, again, my friends were holding on to animosity that I didn't even have. And then vice versa. They were telling me about their partner and they're cool, yet I'm still holding on to what he did to you. And I'm like, you know what? That's not healthy, because for one, my face speaks for itself. So whenever I feel a way, it's hard for me to mask that. And I was noticing that was becoming like a common thing when I was getting around the person's partner. My mood would instantly change. So I told myself, I'm not carrying that emotion anymore, because I don't go home with you guys. And then second, I'm not sharing every low in my relationship, because I don't need you to have unnecessary animosity towards something that we don't even remember.
Gotcha.
Like our arguments, I don't really, remember, because they're not that huge. So that's really my stance with that.
I think that's cool too, because, sometimes like your friends get into a position where they want to protect you. And so if they feel as though a situation is not healthy for you, if their opinion of it isn't full approval, they will develop a disdain or a distaste for that relationship. And they will, harbor resentment for certain things, because in their eyes, they're trying to protect you from either yourself, your significant other, or decisions that you could, something that happened in their past. And I think that that's oftentimes something, again, that's unrealized. Is like a lot of times your friends' opinions about what should or shouldn't be done is often skewed from things of their own past, skewed from things that they've either experienced, traumas that they've lived through, things that they've, overcome or grown through, or just behaviors that they were taught through witnessing it. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Through seeing other people's relationships and thinking that certain things or certain behaviors are healthy or common or whatever. So I think your friends having a desire to protect you is a beautiful thing, but it can often be skewed when it comes to your significant other, because their idea of protection could be hindering you from your own growth.
I agree. And one thing that I also became conscious of was like early on, an early relationship. I noticed that I was constantly venting to one of my friends about the relationship, but I was like, oh, I'm done. And it would become like a weekly thing where I would say I'm done. But to your point about the protection, your friends want to protect you. They want the best for you. And I started to notice that protection was like diminishing. Like my friend that I was venting to weekly, telling them I was breaking up with this person, they didn't even care anymore. And that was starting to hurt, because I'm like, why don't you care about, my well-being in this relationship? But I had to kind of step outside of myself and be like, wait a minute, you've been telling this person that you was going to break up with your partner for months at this point. Yet they see you hugged up and booed up with them. What are they supposed to think? Right. Like, you're not legit. So that's why I'm like, let me actually save, your worries and all of that for something significant.
I think that's I think that that's interesting, because that's another point that I wanted to hit on, is like, oftentimes, right, when you, especially with the back and forth, like, oh, I'm done, and then you go back, sometimes your friends will start to question your decisions, right? Not just because you're in a relationship that they don't approve of, but because you're not a person of your word. You're not a man or woman of your word.
That's it.
And so I think that, trying to find the balance of saying, okay, I'm not going to share this, or I need to share this. I think that that's a very important practice, right? To know what to share and know what not to share, because oftentimes we speak out of emotions, and we may expel decisions. We may exclaim that we're going to do something out of an emotion, right?
Yep.
But it's not going to happen. And so with that comes the room for doubt in your decisions, and you don't ever want your friends to be able to doubt what it is that you're saying. And so I definitely agree that, like, not oversharing kind of inhibits that from happening, right? You're no longer putting yourself in a space where your friends are going to be subject to questioning your decisions, because you're not making decisions out of a rash emotion.
Yep.
You are now speaking to them when you're calm, and you can still tell them about whatever it is that happened. But when you're super excited in the situation and you're like, I'm done, it's over, I'm never going back, I hate this motherfucker, I can't believe this is happening. I've said this to my friends. I've said this, why did you let me stay here so long? Like, I've said that in the past. Like, why did you let me stay in this relationship?
I was like, make sure you can clarify the past.
Yeah, I've definitely said that. I definitely said that in the past. It's crazy, right? Because I had the conversation with my homie the other day where we had moments of gratitude, because we were speaking about women of our past and how much we've grown, how much our tastes have changed or whatever. But then we both had to have a moment of just kind of laughter and being like, wow, like, yeah, the growth is there, but like there was a, it's not even just like, I'm happy for you to be in a relationship, but I'm happy to have witnessed you go through that, because now knowing that you're in this relationship and having seen what you've gone through, I now have a better perspective of what the value really is here.
Yep.
And we had that moment of just being able to be like, yo, that was dope. It's so ill that we've been able to see each other through some tough times and tough emotions and climb over to see a more beautiful horizon, right? A better day. And we were really able to relish that. So I definitely think that there are moments when, sharing is important, but the dangers of oversharing, sometimes your friends can become biased to your benefit.
And it's super easy for them to become biased because you're the one that's coming to them crying or, just super upset. I can't, I don't even want to go in the house because I don't want to see this person. Like, when they hear you like that, it's like, oh no, like this person, like you said, is the enemy at that point. But it's super important, again, to share with your friends, because when you get to that point where you're happy, like you said, they can relish in that with you. Like, I saw you at this point, and to see you here is such a beautiful thing.
Definitely. I definitely think that that's super important. But I feel like on the flip side of that, right, when you do share, even if it's not oversharing, right, and you're telling the story, just remember that stories told from one perspective can often draw a jaded lens. Meaning, like, if I'm telling my side of the story, right, I'm not going to be including all of my wrongdoings.
Yeah.
And so that can then skew a jaded perspective of someone thinking that you are the only one who's wrong in this situation.
Yeah.
And so even when you do share, I think that it's very important to be completely vulnerable and honest. If you're going to share something out of emotion or about something that is emotionally based, make sure that you take all of the emotion and the vulnerability as well to say everything that is true. Not just something that skews the truth to be yours, right? Not something that skews the truth to be on your side. I think that that's very important because, like I said, stories told from one perspective can often draw a jaded lens. And I look for that sometimes when I be talking to my friends. Like, if my man's comes to vent to me, I know him well enough, or vice versa, right? Like, all of my friends that I would possibly vent to, they know me well enough that they can tell me about myself. And so even if I'm stupid enough or just not there enough, like I'm too emotional, and I don't give them the full story, they know me well enough to know that I said some asshole shit or I did something dumb or what. Like, they know me that well to be able to, and vice versa. Right? Like, I tell my friends about themselves all the time after they vent.
Yeah.
So again, sharing is cool, but just remembering that, like, stories told from one perspective can often draw a jaded lens, and you don't want people to be able to view your significant other or your relationship from a jaded perspective.
One thing, if I could add to that, I try to, because a lot of my friends, they come to me to vent, even though it's not like, it go both ways, but they come to me to vent about their relationships. And I try to have this thing where I'm like, is this just, argument type thing, or are you done? Let me know, because I'm going to process this a little differently, And I think that's important, because if you are going to just say, oh, no, like, this is just an argument conversation. Okay, cool. I'm not going to take whatever you're saying about this person to heart. But if this is like, oh, nah, we're done type of thing, I'm going to kind of have different ears with 100%. This. It's going to be on some, oh, okay, well, they done to me too. Like, that ain't my homie no more, because, y'all cutting it off. So that's definitely how I feel.
I agree with that. And I for me, I think that so what you were mentioning is about being the person who is, right, being vented to, right, and being well aware of knowing when to listen and whatnot.
Yep.
And so for me, like, if I'm listening and I'm being the one that's vented to, excuse me, it's gotta have,
usual.
yeah. If I'm being the one that's vented to, like you, right? I don't take it to full heart, but I also make sure that like I never check up on whatever it is that you're venting about. If you're venting to me, I'm not going to store that in my mental Rolodex of something that I need to check in with you on. If there is something that's real serious concern, yes, I will check in on your mental, right? My man just went something through with his shorty, so I didn't check in on the situation. I just checked in on his mental. Yo, bro, just checking on your mental. How you doing today? Because men in relationships, when we are emotionally distraught, it messes with our mental. So I didn't want to check on the situation. I wanted to check on my friend, because oftentimes jealousy is concern in disguise. Meaning sometimes people can act concerned about your situation, and really they're jealous of what it is that you have, so they're hoping for the downfall, right? Like if you and I are in a relationship, and well, we are. If I'm the type of person in a relationship that I'm always stealing the sheets, right? Like I'm always stealing the covers, and like you always venting to your friends about that, like, oh my God, I can't believe I can't sleep with this dude. He always got all the covers. It's crazy. I'll be cold at night. Yada yada. My nipple done fell off. Like if that's how your situation. And then all of a sudden, you know, things are good, and you like, oh girl, we was sheet wrestling last night. It was amazing. And your friend says, yeah, but did he still take the covers? That friend is not concerned about the happiness. Right. Their concern is based in a jealousy state, and they want to see more of the demise. Yep. And I had to learn that, like, through venting to friends and them asking, just like you said, them asking about stuff that I done got over. Like you asking about a situation, and I'm like, huh? What? Oh, that ain't even about nothing. Like, exactly. I just bought a whole new blanket. It is what it is. Whatever the case may be. So I feel like, you know, when you, especially like I said, when you are the one who's being vented to, it's very important for you to realize like what to hold in your mental Rolodex and what to discard of. Yeah. Because again, jealousy is often concern in disguise. And I don't ever want to fall victim to giving someone the ammo to become jealous. So I think that that goes with both sides, right? Like that goes with oversharing on the good as well, right? Like sometimes if you overshare too much of the good, someone can become jealous of your relationship.
And this is the thing, right? You got to have a healthy balance. So what I've noticed is that a lot of older couples, married, unmarried, whatever, just older couples, I noticed something that they do is that they don't share everything with their friends. And these are like aunties and stuff. They've just told me a good way to respect your partner is to respect what you guys go through. And I've realized why so many older couples, you know, when they're all around each other, they're just having fun, they're kicking it, is because nobody really knows each other's bedroom business or things that are happening in each other's home. And that's for a reason, because if you know what's going on in this person's house, you're going to look at them a little shady, or you're not going to really respect them as much because you kind of know the tea. So for me, I feel like if this is someone that I'm going to be with long term, I respect them enough not to share, you know, some of the things that we're going through, because who knows, this may be a rough patch in my partner's journey or life in our relationship. And they may not be in the same space a month from now, 2 months from now, a year from now. So that's just a part of respect.
Let me go ahead and get 2 snaps for bedroom business, because that's going to be the title of this episode. So thanks. Shouts to you for coming up with that, bedroom business. If you like that title, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, bedroom business. That's it is.
That's the name.
Yes. But I do like what you said though about, you know, people being able to be around each other and be comfortable, right, in relationships and whatnot, because we've had outings with you know, people who are significant in our relationship, right? Friends and whatnot. And it's never been anything uncomfortable because we've never broken each other's trust. And oftentimes with oversharing, you can always bet that you are teetering on the side of breaking your partner's trust because you are oversharing about a situation that has happened and someone is able to judge them on a mistake that they may have made. And one of the most dangerous things that you can do is judge someone based off of their worst mistake.
You say that a lot. And one thing that I say often is never let someone outside of your relationship have one up on your partner. And I truly live by this because I would never want someone to have something in the back of their head like, oh, I know this about him. She told me this about him. And it's just like, damn, if your own partner told, you know, somebody outside the relationship about you, something about you, it's just like, I don't know. That's just so uncomfortable to me. So I would never want to do that. But yeah, I just kind of live by that, whether it's family, friends, whatever. So it's kind of interesting to see how we both have these two things that we constantly say all the time, but we actually do live by that.
100%. And I don't want nobody to feel like I'm not out here venting or talking to someone or whatever the case may be, because I have friends that I definitely talk to. One in particular, my business partner, right? We have a code of conduct. Right. We have a certain vernacular that we can each say to each other that we know this is just venting talk. Right. Like when he comes to me, he says, or he texts me, he says, yo, I need 5. I know that means I need 5 minutes for you to listen to me and pretty much agree with what it is that I'm saying and just allow me to get this off. Once I've gotten this off my chest, you can now then hit me with reason, logic, and all of that. But I need 5 minutes to be emotional so that I can get back to being logical. And I think that if you have that relationship with someone and you have that prerequisite of being like, yo, I need 5. Like I can honestly tell you, right? Like of all the times that he's ever said to me, I need 5, I feel like a horrible friend because I can't tell you what they were about. Like I can't go back and be like, okay, yeah, he was talking about like, because they go into.
But that's also a good friend because you were concerned about him,
right?
Not the situation.
100%. 100. Wow, I didn't look at it like that, but 100%. I was definitely more concerned with him than the situation. And once he's good and over it, I don't give a damn about it no more. I don't hold any of that. And so I think that is very important to have those type of prerequisites because venting is a form of therapy. And often, all too often, we talk about how therapy is not expressed or practiced enough in our culture and community. And venting is a form of therapy. And it is very, very rare for a Black man to have a safe space to vent.
Super rare. But I also want to emphasize when we are venting, I've made a rule of thumb. If I'm in a relationship, I'm not going to seek advice or vent to someone that's not in a relationship. And if I'm single, I'm not going to, you know, again, ask for advice or speak to someone about my situation that's not single because they're not in the game. They haven't been in the game for a while. They don't know what's going on. They don't know how the streets is looking. But
it's different outside. You ain't been outside.
Seriously, like when I actually became single before this relationship, I was like, ugh, what's going on out here? But being in a relationship, I would never vent or discuss anything with a friend that is single because, like you said, there may be a little bit of jealousy, but more so misunderstanding. They just don't really know or can relate to what I'm going through.
I think for me, the important idea is just for it to be someone that I trust, because perspective is gained from people that we trust. Yeah, and someone who can give me a unique view or opinion about a situation that I'm going through is someone that I value, right? Yeah. And so there's very few people who I will openly vent to because trust is not something that is just given out in, what is it they say trust is like lost in buckets, but it's gained in like raindrops or whatever. So it's like you can lose trust just by one situation, right? I can dump all of the trust I have for you out of the water, but to gain it, right, I have to trust you in different situations. Maybe I trust you to drive me somewhere, but I don't trust you to watch my kids. Like there's certain things, there's certain levels of trust. And so if I don't have that level of trust in you about a relationship or about your opinion about something, because I've seen your history, right? You have to build that trust with me. If I don't have that, then no, I'm damn sure not venting to you, because again, perspective is gained from people that we trust. And so you can't really gain good perspective from someone whose trust hasn't been earned with you. And with that being said, again, when I'm the person who's being trusted with this information, I think it's just as equally as important to know my role and position. Right? Like, when is my brother just venting, and when is it that he actually needs me to give him perspective on a situation? And so understanding and knowing the difference between the two is what has allowed me to have a beautiful union and make and create beautiful friendships as well. So I definitely feel like it's important to have those things. It's important to be able to share, but again, it's not a necessity for something that you need to do in your relationship. I feel like all too often people want other people to know that they are going through something. We always want empathy. We always want other people to feel something for us. And I think all too often from that, the dangers in that spill over into us oversharing, right? Because it's like, I want this person to know that I feel something. That's just human nature. We want that connection with people. But again, the dangers in that is the oversharing, which can cause a jaded lens and all of the other issues that we spoke about previously. With that, though, those are all of my points as far as like the negatives of oversharing. I don't want to step on your feet. If you ain't got no more, we could pivot right on to business. When you are trying to do something in business, right? It's our friends who we look to for support. It's our friends who we look to for guidance. It's our friends who we look to for motivation. But in my opinion, see, I'm like you when it comes to sharing, when it comes to venting or business more so. Sorry. I talk to God and myself. Like, I play business so close to the chest that it's like, it's a tattoo. Like, I play business moves like they are tattoos, because not only is it that like someone can steal your idea or, reduplicate your idea or whatever, but like, I guess it's the same thing that I was saying about relationships, where it's like perspective is gained from people you trust. So it's like, if you haven't done this, if I haven't seen you do what it is that I'm trying to do, I'm not really trying to have this conversation with you about what could or couldn't possibly be. You don't really have the proper gauge to have this conversation. All you have is an opinion. An opinion is the lowest form of human IQ that we have. Giving an opinion is the lowest gift of a human IQ, because it doesn't have any facts behind it. There's nothing there to support what you say, just how you feel. Your opinion is about what you believe. In my opinion, the sky is green. Who can tell me that I'm wrong? It's my opinion. There's nothing to, you know what I'm saying, to fight that. But back to the main topic about people not being in the position to properly receive your business ideas.
That's okay. So this is the thing. When it comes to business, I can truly identify with this, because the first 2 times that I launched a business, my friends had no idea. And the very first time, my friends, like super close friends, they kind of felt the way, because they was like, you didn't tell me. Like, I had no idea. It's like they were finding out as social media was finding out. And that wasn't intentional or something for me to do to like piss them off. Like you said, this is something that is super important to me. It's sacred, and none of you have launched a business before. And if you haven't launched a business that I'm launching. So I don't need opinions. I don't need feedback. I don't need thoughts. This was really something that I was kind of like borderline should I do it or not? And the slightest opinion was going to make me be like, oh, nah, forget it, because it was so new. So yeah, when it comes to business, I'm very private, and even more private than my relationship. But I feel like business is just a different beast. I won't tell a soul what I'm working on.
I think that there's something that I say all the time, which is you can't discuss big ideas with small-minded people.
Yeah.
And when we say the word small-minded, it doesn't mean like you're dumb, you're slow. But the mind isn't a height thing. It's expansion, right? So if you've never experienced something, your mind is small in that field, right? Like, I'm small-minded when it comes to playing professional baseball. Never done it in my life. So I can't really give you I've watched some of it, but I can't give you too much facts or anything, even good conversation about it. I'm small-minded when it comes to a lot of things that I don't know. And I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that. I have the ability to grow my brain and expand it if I choose to. But if I don't know something, I'm going to shut up about it. I have no problem being that person. Now, other people find offense to that statement and can't say those words that I just said when it comes to being like, yo, I'm kind of small-minded in that subject. So I stand behind you, and I hope that it works out for the best, but my opinion here doesn't really have any value. There's very few people who have that,
because it's seen as an insult,
right? And they really can't actually sit with that statement. But that's the truth of it. Unless you have value here, your opinion serves me no purpose. So please do yourself a favor and either be a supporter or a viewer. But you cannot be in my business, right? Because you'll actually be in my way.
In the way. Yep.
And that's the last thing that I need. The other thing is, too, I ain't talking to nobody because I'm already having enough conversations with myself.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
we have a staff meeting.
I got a whole staff up here, like, and we arguing, fighting. I done fired somebody. Like, it's crazy going on up here. I don't need you and your 2 cents up in here.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I don't need your 2 cents if I ain't made no money yet. Like, please keep your 2 cents and you know what? Save your 2 cents to be a supporter. Put your 2 cents with your $9.98 and buy something. Yeah. Like, be a supporter. Don't come to me with just your 2 cents because, again, where's the value?
Yep.
And there's just a lot of danger in that too, because oftentimes, right, especially in our culture, we mask or accept any type of confrontation or difference of opinion as hate.
That's right? Major. That's really major.
Whenever someone says, yo, I think that could be cool, but I don't know if this is going to go like that, or you hating. So I think that it's very, very important for privacy in your business endeavors.
Yeah.
I think I think you need to be extremely selective with who you share your business with. Yeah. Just as selective with who you share your relationship business with. But for me, I'm a lot more private with my business.
Yeah. And I think when you are private with your business, it saves you so much of the headache and allows you to have peace, because it's like you are the only person that you're having these conversations with about what you're working on. People aren't checking in like, oh, hey, how's it going? And I realized when I actually did launch my businesses, how after the fact, so many people were asking me questions and like, so what are you going to do next? And what's this and what's that? I'm like, wow, if they would have been asking me this during the process, I would have been like, I can't. Like, please, everyone I'm gonna have to tune you out, because it's like having a child, you know? Like, you have to work through it and learn for yourself.
Business is your baby.
Everyone can tell you how to handle this baby or raise this baby, but only you will actually experience it. So
yeah, I think everything that we spoke about, right, the dangers in this conversation is that there's a very thin line. There's a very thin line between sharing and oversharing. There's a very thin line between oversharing and venting, right? And I think that it's important for you to find comfortability within yourself and your friends to know who they are, know who you are, and to know what type of responses you are going to be getting back from them. Because just as important as it is to keep things in private, it's also very important to speak things into existence. And so, right, like with this podcast, nobody really knew that I was doing it or what I was doing it, but they knew I was doing something.
Yep.
Because I kept saying, like, just watch. Like, yeah, like me and her about to do something major, just watch. And and there were a couple people when I was like, we're going to start a podcast, just watch. But nobody really kind of knew what we were going to be speaking about or, you know, the narrative or anything like that. Because I was walking that fine line of speaking it into existence,
but not oversharing.
But not oversharing, which is why I kept saying, just watch. Just watch. Like that to me is my go-to closer to basically say, shut the fuck up, don't ask me no more questions about this. Just hear what it's
know it's coming.
Just know it's coming, and when it comes, don't act surprised.
Yeah.
Whether you support or not, I could care less, but don't act surprised because I did say something. So again, I think that this was a phenomenal episode, and we've been speaking about phenomenal topics, but it's not fair for us to just say it like it's easy, right? Because walking those thin lines between each of the dichotomies that we mentioned is not something that is easy to find or easy to come by, because certain situations call for a different action, right? Like I don't have that same relationship with all of my friends where I can just call them and be like, yo, I need 5. But I do have a few that I can treat like that. And I know how to have those conversations. I don't keep all of my business stuff private. I tell you some things. I tell my business partner some things. Like there's thin lines, and it's all come from developing me as a person, developing my business, and developing the relationships with people. And so I think that it's very important for you to be able to have that counterbalance. This reminds me of the book that I read, The One Thing, which is, it speaks about the importance of counterbalance. People always try to believe that life needs to be lived in balance, but that's not true. You're never going to have perfect balance, right? You're always going to either be spending more time at work or more time with your family. And what you need to do is realize that, okay, look, this month I've spent, 28 days working. I'm going to take the entire 30 days next month off to be with family. Like, yeah, those 30 days, work is going to be down here, family's going to be up here, but you had to counterbalance. Yeah. It's about being okay with knowing that, work's going to be down here for the next 30 days. Because I'm going to give my attention to this. And that, again, spills right back over into what we were talking about when it comes to both venting on personal relationships and business, because you need to learn how to walk that fine line and know that, okay, this is someone whose trust I want and respect on this situation, and therefore I can vent to you about it. This is someone who's not really the person who can add some value to this situation. They're just going to be an ear, and an ear can turn into a jealous individual. It can turn into whatever. So I definitely think that the greater concept of this conversation is to find the counterbalance, find that that ability to stray from each side when the relationship serves you to do so. Yeah. And then to add on to your point, if I could just kind of like wrap up all of my points and put a nice little bow on it, counterbalance is essentially the theme, because if you are going to tell your friends and vent to your friends about, oh my God, he did this, he did that, make sure you also tell them about the good things that he's doing, right? Because this is something that you want them to also be aware of, because it's human nature. Yes. You're going to tell your friends stuff, but you want to make sure they know everything if you're going to tell them these things. So the bad bits, tell them the good bits too, and make sure that they also appreciate the phenomenal person that your partner is, because if I did spill my tea, I would be telling all the good things that you do as well. Yeah, vulnerability is a real thing, and it's the closest thing to leadership. Yeah. I've been reading a good book about that. We'll have that conversation off air. But
But also, just want to slide this part in. Thank you. Thank you for, you know, I know you be venting about me or whatever, but you also tell the good things about me too.
I do. And we have moments of gratitude. So
yes. Shout out to the gratitude moments.
Yeah, definitely. Shit. My partner sometimes at this point, like I said, he know me so well that like venting to him oftentimes becomes a self-reflective therapy session, right? Yeah. Like I can vent to him all day long. Like and the crazy thing is, right? Me and my partners, again, knowing your friends, right? We such assholes that like I could vent to him about something that you did and he could bring up something that I did to him and try to relate it to this situation.
We love to see it.
And try to make me sound like I'm the bad guy because I stole his lighter. Like literally, it'd be like, yo, you know, she watched my show. Was she gonna watch our show without me? And he'd be like, yeah, but you the type of nigga that'll steal a nigga lighter. So what the hell does that have to do?
We love those friends. Yeah, Thank you.
Yeah, it's about knowing your friends, man, and knowing who you can vent to and kind of knowing what their responses is going to be. So, yes, I do share the good and the bad as well. So, thank you for giving me a lot of good to be able to share. Thank you for giving me more good to be able to share than more bad. So, yep, you know what I'm saying? It's less times. Let's just say this, right? Of all the relationships that I've been in, I've needed the least amount of 5 minutes in this one.
Or snap.
Right, 2 snaps. 2 snaps for the win. But that was it, man. This was a great episode. I appreciate you being my partner in this because I actually enjoy doing this and being able to reminisce on some of the good, the bad, the ugly, some of the things that I've been through, grown through, and learned. And I really appreciate these conversations. I hope that you out there also appreciate these conversations and everything that we go through to make this thing happen because y'all have no idea how many times we started this episode. Yeah. But y'all gonna find out because I'm gonna put some of them bloopers at the end of this mug. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna roll straight to the we're gonna start it y'all gonna see some of these joints because
y'all gonna have to send some stuff to his Cash App, some donations because he really be making sure this come all together.
Smoking and cashing. Yeah. You see how we tied that whole thing back?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
It ain't easy.
It's a Business of Love podcast. And that's it, man. Bedroom business.
Bedroom business.
This is a great episode. And we out.